Good morning, and welcome to the Gospel According to Kinison, and I am your host. I am your man. I am the birthday boy, Bill Kinison, and we're excited. We're excited today to come to you and be able to give you the truth that God places in us. Sure, I don't know, but I'm supposed to be happy. Rejoice at a death, mourn at a birth. And I don't know, are you already looking on there?
I'm looking. Good morning, Angela Kemp.
Angela, we were with them last night.
Just saw.
They surprised me in a birthday party.
Jack Friedman, good morning.
And Jack, I love you so much, you and Marcy, and thank you for the birthday wishes. And we could not do this program without you. And I'll make the announcement now because I always forget. Please like the Gospel According to Kinison.
Yes, John Letts, Happy New Year.
Let me tell you about John.
Yes.
I think it's probably close to 15 years when I met John. And I didn't want to meet John, but I reluctantly met with him. And Sherry, every birthday from the time I've met him, he calls me at 12 o'clock. When he lived on the East Coast and I lived on the West Coast, he would stay up.
I know.
And called me and did this year.
He's still.
I love him. He's like a brother to me.
Yes, Jeff McLaughlin, good afternoon. Happy birthday, Brother Bill.
Why, did he put good afternoon?
Because I think he's ahead of our time. He's up in Boston, isn't he?
Well, whatever.
Yes. Jerry.
Well, I love Jeff. Well, before you leave, I love Jeff. He amuses me a lot with his posts and stuff. And then he gets serious on stuff. And there are times he really posts great stuff.
Gary Witt, good morning.
Gary Witt. We just was with him 2 weeks ago, I guess, Sherry.
Well, it's been, yeah.
Well, we buried your mother, and he was at the funeral.
Yes.
And we got to spend a great lunch with him. It's one of those friends that we didn't see each other for years, but we picked up right where we left off.
Everybody's telling you happy birthday.
Oh, they're going to keep throwing that up in my face, huh?
Yes. Good afternoon, Alfonso Nero Brown.
Yep.
Tammy Meyer.
Tammy, relative.
Good morning, Tammy. Happy New Year to you.
And Craig and Sammy.
Yes.
Her daughter.
Yes. And Kayla. Suzanne Mason.
All right, Kayla. She's been watching us. And I'm glad to have her on board.
It's a lot of your names go so fast past, I can't remember who all came on.
Well, let me tell you the truth. She just don't like you.
No. They know I love them. It's just, between your talking and their name coming up.
I understand, and do you realize, Sherry, that I would say, you and I together, and with phone calls, I know you and I together had over 500 posts wishing me a happy birthday, and then with the phone calls, I would say we're over 600 people. And I'm not saying that to brag, but it really made me feel good that we're in people's lives enough that they would post us and would wish me a happy birthday. And I'm very, very humbled by that.
Jerry Nicholson, he said he loved our message earlier this week.
Yeah, and he does.
Eddie Jarvis, good morning.
Eddie, yep.
Steve Kaufman, Paul Henderson.
That's autumn. I have to remind you every week.
I'm sorry.
That's autumn.
Autumn is here.
Yeah, all right. Well, honey, we're going to have to...
Whoop. Go.
All right. Let's get started today. I may go a little long because we have so much to say to you. The first thing I want to say is that I was telling you that I'm not that spiritual yet, that I rejoice at a death and I mourn at a birth. And we had another very, very close friend that transitioned to the next world this week, and that was Bishop Jerry Skelton in Dallas, Texas. And he and his wife, I know that he remarried because we met his wife, his second wife that was she's associate pastor of their church. And but the one that we knew and grew up with was Fern. And man, the times we had, Sherry, and for many years they were the best friends we had in the ministry. And a fantastic organist and played many of our crusades. And we held many revivals in the church. And if you want to know what the church was like, if you ever watched the movie The Apostle with Robert Duvall, that was filmed in Bishop Skelton's church.
And he's on the organ.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And at the end, he's actually playing a piano, he's playing a piano on there, and the soundtrack is an organ, right at the very end in a little church. But anyway, our prayers go out to the church, and there's one thing I could say about Jerry. He lived what he preached. I can't say that for a lot of preachers. Bishop Skelton lived what he preached and had one of the meekest, gentle spirit of anyone that I knew in the ministry. And we'll be at that service, I think, on Friday. It's on Saturday, but we'll be there for the viewing on Friday. And they're in Dallas, Texas.
And our beautiful daughter, Ginger Cottrell, is watching this morning.
And she is beautiful. And what she did this year, first, they've already taken it down, but she had that company that puts up happy birthday bill. And we had went to a New Year's Eve dinner here in our neighborhood that they do. And we were driving back, and Sherry knew all about it, but I didn't. And there's this car sitting in front of my house, but we were going over to Ginger's, and Sherry's acting all squirrely. You know, what's that car doing in front of our house? Then she gets on her phone like she's looking at our security camera, and goes, I don't know if they're in our yard or in the neighbor's yard. And I'm going, well, they're probably in the neighbor's yard because there's no car in their drive. Took it right to the hilt. We went and spent time with Ginger, and Ginger had them put this in. And I came home and I was like, man, because I'm hard to fool. That was just the start. Now, she said we were going out to dinner or was going to have dinner at her house for my birthday. And I should have known when my little 3-year-old nephew, grandson, Finnegan, came running up to the door and going, surprise! And I'm so slow, I couldn't figure out. I just thought, man, he's really happy to see me, which he usually is. And then Ginger is all dressed to the hilt, so I'm thinking, well, we're going to go out to a nice place and eat. And she takes me in into the living room and kitchen, and there's everybody. And I appreciate it, and I love them. And it was a very memorable birthday.
Happy New Year, Misty Soper.
Yep, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes, Sue
I
Irby.
love Mitzi so much.
Love you, Sue Irby, Robar. We got to see you and spend time with you. Kimberly Moore, Happy New Year, happy birthday.
I know we cannot
Keep going.
All right. I had someone ask me recently, well, actually this week, and I just thought this is not part of you're not paying for this part of the message. And they came up and we were talking a little bit, and they go, don't you believe in the catching away of the saints? And folks, don't ask me something if you don't want to really know how I think about it, because I'm not going to tell you something I don't believe. And I told them, I do not believe God's purpose and plan includes snatching a poor, half-hearted, downtrodden people out from under the heel of the devil just before he crushes them. I'm sorry. I do not believe that. I believe God wants us to be overcomers. He wants us to be successful. He wants us to be healthy. He wants us to be wise, and he wants us to be full of joy. And I cannot do that hoping that he's going to come and get me out of here before it gets too bad. I don't care how it gets. I'm a child of God. God will take care of those that will depend on him. I gave you that for free. Now I want to tell you how to have a great new year. Not just a day, but a great new year. While sitting in my office thinking about a New Year's lesson, thinking about what I was going to give to you, I remembered an experience I had with my dad. He was a preacher, as I've told you. He was a man's man. Sturdy, forthright, and lovable in every sense. He was a great person. On this occasion, he was at his desk. I remember it vividly. He was at his desk on the last day of the year, and I think it was in 1966. I was 17 years old. He was writing a letter, and at the top of the letter he wrote, December 31st, 1966. He turned around to me, and he said, this is the last time I will ever write as a date 1966. And I asked him a question. I asked, Dad, how long do you think I will live? You know, those are thoughts that come to you when you're young. How long do you think I'll live? And I remember he answered and said, who knows? Only God knows. Then he added, I hope you live a long time. But I'm not interested in how long you live, as in whether you amount to something while you do live. And I've always remembered those words. I hope you live a long time, son. But I'm not as interested in how long you live as whether you amount to something while you do live. That's quite a statement. At year's end and at a New Year's beginning, do you amount to something? Do you amount to something? I was thinking this morning, I live with a pressure. Good or bad, I don't know, but I live with a pressure. I've always been goal-oriented. I've always liked the size I was. And the reason I liked it was there wasn't as much expected out of me athletically as there was other kids. And I didn't like it being this size that I would get any breaks. I liked it because I would work as hard and I'd be as good as they were, and they looked at me as an overachiever. And I like that. I've liked that. I've always been goal-oriented. Had to have goals in my life. But I live with a pressure. And the pressure that I live with is I want to be the best father that there is. I want to be the best grandfather that there is. I thank God for the wife He gave me. I want to be the best husband. And I told her last night, all I want is to make you happy. That's all. Then I live under pressure from a spiritual standpoint. 3 men in my life, and I've told you about them before, was my father, Reverend S.E. Kinison, my father-in-law, Reverend J.R. McFadden, and my stepfather, Dr. A.D. Marney. The amazing thing about it is they were 3 of the wisest men I knew. They were 3 of the smartest men I knew. All 3 were fantastic preachers, fantastic pastors. And yet, none of the 3 of them ever had more than a 5th grade education. And I live with a pressure that I want them to be proud of what I do. That's the reason I don't compromise. That's the reason that I study and I work to give you this news. I want to amount to something in their eyes. I want them to be proud that I was their son, their stepson, and their son-in-law. That's the pressure I live with. I want to make a declaration to you. Are you and I going to do better in the upcoming year than we've done in the past? Make a statement with your life. I ministered my brother Sam's funeral. I brought the eulogy. But there was a friend of mine that he was like us. He'd been blacklisted and all the preachers had shunned him because of what he preached. But I remember he asked me, can I say something? And I said, yes. His name was Bob Stone. I said, sure, Bob. And he got up and he said, that comment I just made to you. Make a statement with your life. And he said something Sam did with his life is he made a statement with his life. Now, I'm not interested. We had a person last week, again, talk about he's in hell and all. Don't waste my time with that stuff. Don't waste my time with that stuff. But I want to ask you today, and I want to declare to you today, make a statement with your life. Ezekiel 36:26 says this, a new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. That is, if the old heart and mind don't have the right attitude, if the old spirit is dull and uninspired, then you need a new mental attitude. Whatever we're going to be and do in the new year, you have to be excited about the prospect that we will be filled with the enthusiasm of the coming year. Make a statement with your life. You see, I do not know one person who hasn't got it. Everyone possesses it to be successful. What is it? It is life. You are alive. What a privilege to be alive. Take advantage of it. So let us anticipate that as we move into this new year, we're going to have a beautiful experiences, some of which we have never had before. Some of you think it's going to be the same old stuff, but it won't be for you that have a new heart and have a new spirit within you. Enthusiasm, excitement. This is the mental attitude to have as you move into a new year. You may say, well, I made a lot of mistakes last year. I did foolish things last year. But when the date changes, all of that is in the past. That no longer exists. The past is one of the greatest blessings God ever created. When it is past, it's past. It's gone. It's finished. It's over with. It's in the past. One of the greatest texts in the Bible is this: forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. That is the way to live a healthy-minded individual. I've used this saying for years, that in the Bible it says it came to pass. It came not to stay, it came to pass. You see, God forgives our errors, and God forgets our mistakes. So we should forget it. If God has, we ought to. Forget that which is behind. Reach forward to that which is before, and be enthusiastic about life. One thing I love about my daughter, and believe me, for her age, she's went through more than a person should have to go through. But one thing she has always kept is her enthusiasm. She's probably a person I'd rather be around than anybody else because she's always enthusiastic. She's emotional. And sometimes she's enthusiastic in a different way, but she's always enthusiastic. Forget that which is behind. Reach forward to that which is before and be enthusiastic about life. It isn't going to be fun to walk away from those old errors, those old dumb, stupid things we did this last year, and we all did them. Right out there is a wonderful new year in which we're going to do better and have a lot of excitement and joy in doing it. You might say, what about all these problems? Look at the difficulties we have in the world. How can anyone be enthusiastic with all these problems that's going on? When didn't we have problems? I don't ever remember not having them. You can't wait to start being enthusiastic until there's no problem. Just remember, you are alive. Be enthusiastic about it. Don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid. God will watch over you the rest of the way. No matter what your problems or what your difficulties might be, God will, like the song said, God will take care of you. I can't sing very well anymore, but I can still make a noise. Trust God. Do the best you can. Play out whatever life deals you. And if we all do that, and I'm sure we will have the time of our lives in the year ahead. Romans 12:2. Again, this is one of my favorite scriptures. I have about a half dozen I quote frequently on this program. Be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. My little Kinisonism for this program. Now is the only time there is. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow never comes. I used that this week in our little lesson that we put on online. See, many people don't want to change their thinking. They don't want to change their minds. People want to change everyone and everything but themselves. Stop and think about it. If you're waiting for someone else or something else to bring you success and prosperity to you, you will never succeed and you will never prosper. It doesn't come from someone else. It comes from within. If you're waiting for someday to overcome your conditions, you're going to be waiting a long, long, long time. Christians have been waiting for someday for over 2,000 years. I want you to deal with right now, not someday. Your someday attitude is the reason you haven't prospered as you would like to prosper. Because someday, I love my little grandson, Finnegan. I love him. He's smart as a whip. He's got very brilliant mother and father. But he figured out, he doesn't like to get his hair cut. And he figured out how to get grandma and mom off his back. Because they'll go, hey, let's go get your hair cut. And he goes, tomorrow. Whatever he doesn't want to do, that's all he says. He doesn't say I'll do it, but he just goes, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Sounds like some of y'all with your someday attitude. You see, the ideas in your mind and what calls you to succeed or fail, have prosperity or poverty, is to have or not to have that which you want. It's because the idea is in our mind. If you are experiencing limitation this morning, and you want to experience abundance, you must change your mind about yourself. You must reject the idea of the world mind, that I call it, of what the world thinks. You have to reject that. Limitation and lack are facts of life. You have to reject that. There's a difference, and we taught on that this past year, between facts and truth. That may be the fact, but it's not the truth of you. Limitation and lack are not the facts of my life, and they're not the facts of your life. They don't have to be the facts of your life. If they are, you have originated them. You have caused them by the thoughts in your mind to become existent in your life. But if you're waiting for someone else or something else to bring you success and prosperity, you're never going to succeed and prosper. You're never going to have it. See, when you change your mind about yourself, one who is limited to one who is blessed with abundance, you'll replace limitation and abundance. You'll replace lack with plenty. Oh man, I'm giving you such good stuff here. I'm giving you such good stuff. See, the power is within you. That's where the power is. If you have a negative belief that you don't have the power within you to experience the health, happiness, love, success, and prosperity that you want and you desire, you must change that belief and get an expanded idea of yourself. I don't like to blame other people. I was talking to a young man actually on New Year's Eve, and he's a psychology major at Colorado State. And I told him, I said, when I was in college, the first 2 years, I was a psychology major. And we got to talking about what is taught in psychology. You see, we're all psychotic, or that's what they tell us. We're all psychotic in one way or another. And it's easy to see who they are, just be around them, of which they are. A lot of people are psychotic about it's their fault. It's your fault. It's the government's fault. It's somebody else's fault. It's something else's fault. You have just on the other side, you have that, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. Now, I'm very honest about myself. I probably lean that way. I really don't blame a lot of people for my problems. I blame me because they originated in me. Through this God in you that I teach, you already have the power to change your conditions and to better your life just by knowing God in you. Not one that's going to come and take all the downtrodden Christians away and then he's going to get even with everybody else with tribulation and starvation and disease. No. When you know the presence of the God in you, your thinking will change from the negative to the positive. Your life will change and you'll experience the good you desire, not tomorrow, not next year, not someday, but right here and right now. That's where your change will come, and it will come immediately. You'll see that you don't have to wait for somebody else or something else, or something else to overcome your conditions. A lot of people waiting to hit the lottery. Every once in a while, Sherry will go, I think this week it was $440 million in the Super Lotto or whatever it is, and she's going, well, we got to buy a ticket. And I go, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you just give me the money? Because you'll get just as much good out of it, because my prosperity is not going to come from a little ball, a ping pong ball with numbers on it. The other thing that I've taught is quick money goes quick. I want money and I want health that stays, that remains. Remember, as you go through the new year, make it every day a continual practice to examine your own thinking. Remember, the Bible says, as a man thinks, so is he. If you're experiencing limitation or some kind, or you're not prospering as you would like, examine the thoughts that you think in your mind, and you'll find the problem. It's been a privilege to be here with you this morning. I want to give you one quote. It was by Benjamin Franklin. And the quote was, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of." Sherry, we're embarking on a new year, and Sherry's great about telling me what I used to say when I was young. And so what she told me yesterday, since it was my birthday, she said, "Well, you always said you might get old, but you're never growing up." And I said, you know what? I hope I'm living up to that. I don't want to act like a 73-year-old person, because most of them I know, they're dragging around. They've already let their thinking. Try to tell them they can't do this, they can't do that. No. I want to live and experience the goodness of life every single day. I thank God for my beautiful wife. I never in my life would have ever thought I would have a woman this beautiful and this wonderful. And I told her on December 31st, I told her on New Year's Eve, I was sitting there and she was sitting next to me, and I said, "Honey, do you remember 50 years ago?" And I could tell she didn't. Yeah, she's standing here laughing because I knew she didn't. And she said, "Well, what happened 50 years ago?" I said, "I was in Houston, Texas, getting ready to preach the beginning of a revival that started on New Year's Eve. And I got a phone call just before I went out to preach. And it was from you. And I remember the first words that you said." And Ginger accused me of getting emotional last night telling this, so I'm not going to get emotional today. But her first words to me were, "I love you. I want to marry you." And I'll never forget that. That was 50 years ago, this past New Year's Eve.
He tells all our secrets.
Yeah, I have no secret. But these are my people, Sherry. These are my people.
Carmen Wick says, "Happy birthday."
Well, thank you.
I love Carmen. You know, she does live life.
Yes, she does.
Today, really, she lives life.
She totally invests in life.
Her and Kevin just...
Not just for them, but for the dreams of other people.
Yep.
And I love her. And then I thank God for my son-in-law. It's not often that a father can go, "God brought you into my daughter's life," but I felt that way. Devin is a fantastic person, and he has love. It's deep. He has a deep love. And I thank God for my daughter. I never dreamed that God would bless me with the beautiful, talented, and smart daughter that I have. I feel sorry for the rest of you, because I have got the very best. And then, when I think I had it all, God brings me a mini Ginger, and we called her Scarlet, that is a Papa's baby, and I don't care how old she gets, and I don't care how much you don't like it. She's always going to be Papa's baby. Well, so that Ginger, Sherry wouldn't be jealous, God brings us a little Finnegan that is the replica, and I don't know if this is good or bad, of the Kinison boys. He looks like them. He acts like them. He yells like them. And that is Mimi's boy. And so we want to wish you the happiest of the new year from our family to your family. Thank you for the wishes. I don't have words to express, but God love every one of you. I love you. Sherry? Don't just give thumbs up. I can't see you.
I love him. Joe Sumter says, "Another home run sermon."
Well, I wonder if he'd ever he walked today instead of the home. But I love Joe and his wife. He's got a beautiful wife.
Yes, he does.
And Joe, I've told the story, but he's not because of what he did for us at the theater, but because of the person he is. I fell in love with Joe a long, long time ago. And but I love you. Sherry loves you. God loves you. And God bless America.